It's Billy. Right now. Yo, what if I got attacked by the clones? What if the builder think they found a better stone? What if the beat don't match with the metronome? What if that means you walk your path alone? Call me a vagabond. If all these streets leading to Rome, then wherever I lay is my home. It's Brooklyn, boy strong. I manifest, I'm in the zone. Y'all silly better back up off my throne. Listen, boy nice, better give him his propers. How we come out sane from all the mosh pits. How we found the key to the game without a locksmith. How we seem to manage these lanes is so obnoxious. He let it flow from the brain, trusting the process. A vet journeyman on multiple rosters. If I want it, I go out and get it and cop it. A monster with limitless options. Man, like goddamn, y'all gon' soon figure out who I am. We stay cooking, y'all used to that spam. Western beef, I might square up at the square dance. Look, I change plans, not even a southpaw, I'm an outlaw with a rare stance. Your crew never had a fair chance.
Why's that?
I kill a whole bear with my bare hands. Oh, they studied the dark? Well, I was raised in it. Brain shifted, the kid displayed insane physics. Best story never told, and it ain't finished. How we handled a rock, spun and kept the same pivot. I frame different, hot like a flame kitchen. A whole 2 levels out of your range gifted. Catch me on the highway, lane switching. Or right at the top of your bay wish list. It's Billy. Right now. It's Billy.
Yo. Hey. How we doing?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. It's the last day of the old year. We about to hit Happy New Year tonight.
Have other people already had New Year? Or no? We're
No,
the
probably
first.
not.
Are we the first to? I don't remember how time zones work.
No, there's other countries that'll get it. I think London, I remember, used to hit it first. I
Okay,
remember.
gotcha.
Right? Stuff like that. So I don't know how. I don't know.
Cool. Well, hell yeah.
What up?
2022.
Can you believe it? We made it through 2022, y'all. Wow.
I don't think we just made it through.
Oh man, yeah, I think we thrived through 2022.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like so many victories. So many we acquired so many useful skills and allies and ideas and.
Yeah. And the year ended with a bang, with a bum-ass, terrible, I mean, what do you start with, right? Apparently, allegedly sex or child trafficker, misogynist, sort of self-promoter on the backs of women and on the, you know what I'm saying?
And
like
boys.
building, yeah, on boys, yeah.
He had like a Hustler University. I'm sure the skills he acquired at that Hustler University thing he was hawking will come in handy in a Romanian prison.
In jail, right? Andrew Tate, got arrested, after self-owning himself with a pizza box in his house, doing a video in response to Greta Thunberg. So anyway, that was absurd.
Was in response to him
Which was in response to
provoking
him, right?
her unnecessarily. See, essay convidere, be rather than seem. Really, I think we're gonna just all we have to do is just be ourselves, and people who form themselves as weapons against us shall not prosper. They're gonna blow themselves up.
Get
in their own way.
Well, the problem is that these guys they're not being, right? They're performing. They're same with Trump. Trump now also. This is wrap up all the sort of positive things that have happened, all the shitty people that have been put in their place.
Kevin Samuels. Bye.
Trump is out here resorting to selling whack ass stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's a bum, and he's not being taken seriously with the stuff. Kevin Samuels, bye. He's not around.
I'm trying to outlive everyone who,
See, I would put Kevin Samuels kind of lower on the list on this, though, right? He's not. If I had to come up with a list of these guys, right, I would say some really terrible people. And then there's a guy named Kevin Samuels who had a YouTube page that got popular, and he was saying trash and making money too off of like this same wave, but he wasn't like Tate level or Trump level or some of these other people I'm about to mention.
So for me, it's, he spoke to a lot of black boys and men and women. And so, me being within that class and that being like a lot of the people who I love, I care more about that. And like, I don't think just because his reach was less, maybe than that of Tate, or it doesn't mean he's not drawing on the same ideas, using the same tactics, and getting people that, really matter to me.
Yeah, they're shaping the discourse, man. Every single post and podcast and everything that they did, man, they shaped people's minds, especially for them. For the people I'm talking about, younger men are really their sense of what the world is, And it's really counter to what I think we believe and push, which is the idea that we're all one and that you have to kind of seek to be in communion and communication and to co-create with each other.
Yeah.
Theirs was based on division. Sean Hannity, another one. Loser.
Idiot. What's the other doofus?
Clown.
Brian Stelter.
Bye. Was that 2022 also?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Really?
I love how I called a lot of these, by the way.
Exactly.
But
Tory Lanez, go to jail.
Tory Lanez.
Harvey Weinstein, go to jail. R. Kelly, straight to jail. What's the other one? One more.
Is there another one? There's a lot. Oh, there's the dude, the shooting guy. What's his name? The conspiracy theorist with his show.
Alex Jones. Straight to jail. No, not straight to jail.
Well,
straight to the bank.
Fined in the like billions, I believe, and he's just obviously no way he can pay that.
Yeah,
his whole thing is being ruined. I just think things develop and things come to light, and you gotta actually be like able to notice your wins. And I think we've had some wins in terms of like the push for us to see each other and to love each other and to appreciate and to collaborate. You know what I'm saying? So
seeing our own individual power, and the world can look however we want it to.
Yeah, one of the biggest things is to like again Hannity. We gotta get these people out. These voices, yo. He's a paid liar. He's a paid manipulator. He's a paid division creator and sustainer. And you have to be aware of that. So 2022, that's the end of it. We're moving into a new joint. We're experiencing changes, yo. Changes is happening, yo. We are appreciating each other.
Yeah.
We are looking inward and seeing the beauty in ourselves, and when we see that and we can engage with it and to move into it, then we can see it in others, and we can see our flaws so that we can see other people's flaws and be accepting as well. We're seeing it all. We're seeing it, greater awareness. You know what I'm saying? That's what 2023 is.
To be human is to be imperfect. It is to want to play and discover and, be curious about shit, experience things.
Yeah. That's a good look.
Yeah. Let's, how are you with change? I'm a Scorpio, as I've said many times before. Scorpio, tattoo. And which is a fixed sign. And I find myself struggling with change a little bit sometimes. Like, I'm afraid of it. I worry about, like, endings. Like, some, like, TV shows, when I know it's the last season, I, like, won't watch it. Because then it's over. And
That's
like when I finish a book, I have this sadness that like I don't like, you get to know these people and their story and their journey, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
My friends.
I can relate to that. I mean, there's always that. I mean, this it's how you associate the feelings when you really understand life and you understand yourself. When you understand the way we perceive, then you understand that like these moments were like energetic expressions and inflection points that produced a feeling in you.
Yeah.
So you attach yourself to that moment or to something in that moment when it was much more complex than that. You can achieve that again, and you can achieve that differently, and you can appreciate what's happening in this moment and what's going to happen tomorrow as you continue to have the blessing of this experience. You know? But it's all about the stories you tell. It's all about the stories you tell. So I fuck with it. That's 11. I fuck with it. Like, I know, again, like you said, books or even TV shows, series. You're like, oh man. Or you hear someone hasn't seen something yet. You're like, yes.
I'm so happy for them. I'm like, oh man, I wish.
Experience the whole thing.
I wish I, could view it again with fresh eyes. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, but also, I guess the only constant is change, and we do like things that we're more familiar with. So I think I make up this story that once I've seen it, once it's no longer new or fresh, like it's not as good. But that's not true. I think that's a story I've internalized, and maybe a lot of us have internalized, that new is better than old.
Or even the story you said a second ago, you said you're not good with change. What you're pointing to, I think, is that you have these anxieties, but what if that's a part of the human condition, and you are good with change? I think you're fantastic with change.
Thank you.
You're always like, I think in the last 2 years living with you, being your husband, we've gone through some serious changes, and we've been looking at stuff and talking about stuff and creating stuff and dealing with some issues, and like you're consistently able to find a peace and a way to look at things that is like sort of positive, and I think you're great with change. So
thank you.
But so
you're right. I am telling myself a story that I'm not good with change, but you're right. I am very good at change, and I think it's because I recognize that change is inevitable, and so any particular situation I'm in, let me enjoy it while it's here. Let me find the lesson I'm supposed to be learning from this, because it's definitely going to change. So no need to be like, oh, is it almost over? Is it it's only now. And so let me be more aware of that I'm good with change, and
I think you are.
Ooh,
I think you are. I'm pretty good with change, but that had to be learned, and I had to unlearn some stuff. When I was a kid, one of the things I remember this when I was young. I remember learning that when things were good, when I was in a good, what's up?
No, nothing. Sorry.
When I was in a good situation, I would feel anxiety because I knew something bad was coming.
Yeah.
So I had a constant sense of change in that sense, but it was always really negative.
Apprehension.
I was always, something good happened. All right, well, the shoe's about to drop in a week or a couple of days. Let me try to be present here. But
I remember that when we first started dating, I had a similar kind of, not I was just you were so perfect, and I could be myself and talk, and you would talk with me, and we would be interesting. I would find you interesting, and your takes, open and flexible, and I just felt very seen and stuff, and it was a man with not a red flag on him. Oh, girl, I'm about to be murdered. He's a serial killer. That's all that is. You gonna see me on Netflix, portrayed by Keke Palmer, and
I like Keke.
It's gonna be one of the hit serial killer shows of. No, I'm just kidding. But if you did turn out to be a serial killer, you would be I would be impressed. Oh damn, he's a sophisticated serial killer. That's kind of nice.
Went through CNN, went through all this stuff. This dude working. He's been. How long have been doing it?
Exactly. That's a long game. That's a discipline and a foresight that I appreciate.
Crazy.
But I was definitely something's gonna change, and right. you had this idea too. Is
right.
The other shoe's gonna drop. We've said that a lot, but
I had the same idea, and I remember the thing I explicitly requested right around the time when I asked you to get married. I asked you to never change. I said, promise me you'll never change. And you know what? The thing with Sheba is Sheba will often, she's very affirming. This is something that's huge. It's been huge for me, and a lot of times it hits me like that. A lot of niggas don't have a Sheba out here affirming them and helping them see their best stuff. Anyway, so I say Sheba, don't ever change. Right? This is awesome. Everything we're doing is awesome. Please don't change, because in my mind, I'm worried about marriage comes and then she's gonna turn into the ball and chain. She's gonna turn into a burden. She's not gonna be down for our wild ass, our fun shit that we do. And instead of affirming and being like, yeah, of course, which is something that I'm kind of, you were like, you just kind of nodded, And I remember thinking, that's weird. And I registered that. And at the same time, I had to be aware that, like, the question itself maybe or the request itself was an odd one, Somewhere in the back of my mind, I realized I was clinging to something. I wanted something to not change. And that's a reasonable request, but at the same time, don't change. Maybe I need to be more specific about what shouldn't change. I should be more aware of what I'm trying to describe, what I'm pointing to, because we change. We will change. And so you were wise and didn't really answer me. And, with time, all I've realized is that, yeah, you've changed, I've changed, we continue to change. We've agreed to change together. We've agreed to figure out ways to communicate so that we can make the changes together so that they can be both in our best interests as best as possible. And that's a dope fucking thing.
Yeah. Dude, it's so awesome. I saw this really cool, this person I follow on Instagram, when they got married, we actually didn't have vows. We're just really, not trying to, it was about us and I feel like we kind of create our vows as we, every month with our meetings and like all our, talks and stuff. But I was going to say,
you saw someone on Instagram?
Oh yeah. Who, they're like, I, promise to stay married to you, until, and if, like, our mutual thriving is better served by our dissolution of our marriage. And I love that. Like, I love you. You're my best friend. I want the best for you. And I love that we have the space to change. And, like, just because I am what you need and what helps you and what makes you, feel good now, like, I don't want to hold you to that, indefinitely. Like, who knows, change is the only constant. And I didn't want to hold myself to that when you're like, don't change. I was like,
right.
Especially when I see how marriage goes for women. We get cast as the ball and chain, as the not fun one, as the one who's always like, and like, that's not me. That's not who I am. And when I was married before, I saw someone who was trying to cast me in that light so that they could feel better about, like, weaponizing their incompetence, like not doing as much, not changing, like, being like, like not doing adult things, like communicating or like, so if everything wasn't perfect, wasn't exactly how I was going to need to be communicated with, I was going to, want to have sex, like, talk about myself, interact with the rest of the world. Like, I was like, that's going to have to stay the same. No, I mean, like, that would not be smart of me to agree to that. And
yeah, I think the traditional sense of the relationships, though, for all kinds of reasons, like related to control and shit, like they form our notions of it as something permanent. It's something that you're supposed to build permanent. It's supposed to be permanent. And if it's not permanent for you, well, you've made a mistake somehow. You're wrong. So you picked the wrong guy. You're not submissive enough. You're not giving him enough sex. You're not feeding him enough. Or guys have their own version of it. If it's not working, there's something about you that's not right. You obviously your income isn't thing. These are our anxieties.
See,
right?
That's what guys always think. But oftentimes, if they do have money, they think they're doing fine. Like, that's all that they demand of themselves, is that they bring in money. And so women have to be like, okay, you're not having enough sex. you're not being quiet enough. You're not keeping the house enough. You're not letting him lead enough. It's always the women have all of these things that we have to make ourselves smaller and comport, and men.
But do you see how it's totally from the archetypes and the gender norms, the way we talk about each other. So for us, really the thing we define ourselves at is this provider archetype. And if you fulfill that, if you
make money,
successful person financially as a man, you can be more confident. And dudes, they'll say it straight away. Like, Castle's just be honest. So, but then if you're in a relationship and it doesn't work, you know it's not you. What? I fulfill my thing, you know. But unfortunately, obviously, that's not true, right? The role and the need of the masculine in a relationship is much larger than that one little space. But often it's
larger
all put
and
on
more
y'all.
fluid. Exactly, I think
it's larger, it's fluid, it's much more expansive and complex, and it needs to be an exchange with the other person. You know,
and it's very self-defined, because I know lots of men who, you know, don't make a lot of money, but they maybe make steady income or some income. That's enough. They've provided sufficiently where, like, you know, they can still demand that this woman be faithful, be you know, submissive, and all these things. And
because again, even there, they may not be a millionaire, but they're hardworking and they're providing.
Exactly. Hardworking is now, you know, like, not smart working, hardworking. So just because someone's like spinning their wheels at something that maybe I know is not working, you know, don't just keep trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's actually stupidity. And like, it is, you know, been kind of set down that like men can kind of, that providing is a very, you know, internal, individual to each man kind of thing. But for women, like, what's expected of us is very like, you can determine whether or not I'm being submissive enough. You can determine whether or not I'm having enough sex with you, or if I'm blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah, it's
the metrics are not my own. Whereas with men, your metrics are more, you know, you're like, I provide, I pay for everything, I do this.
Or sometimes, I mean, if we're going a generation back, sometimes you'll hear guys be like, "What? I never hit her. You know,
that is what I expect and from every single person I interact with.
That's like something on that's like a badge or a thing on the resume.
Exactly.
It's like a clear statement of, look, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and it's like, wow, you know.
And that's men benefiting from bad men. You know, you don't get to be like, oh, not all men, if you're also aware that you're better than other men who would just, you know, beat up people. Like, what? I don't care.
But doesn't this speak to the question of like, what is good? What is a good man? What is all this stuff? It is relative. It is. I think whenever we talk about good versus bad, we're necessarily making a comparison, and so you are being judged against peers and other, like, again, the archetype, which just needs
but not yourself.
But not self, and not exactly, not self, and not judged against the need. Exactly. So she has a need.
Yeah.
And your goal should be to be interested in that, to help fulfill that, rather than like this other thing that's been pre-prescribed and is kind of bullshit and is a limited definition. It actually limits you. It actually limits and diminish you as you try to define yourself and your value in any space. You know, you are much larger than this like performance or this achievement oriented thing. What can you do for me? How much have you made? Kind of thing. But that's the issue too with like when dudes talk about this rightfully, but it comes out in anger in certain ways, and in certain, you know, the toxic man overse hates y'all for reducing us to money and reducing us to income and shit, and all the music and hip hop. You know, the women lean into that as the theme for the hip hop content. It's funny because the dudes' hip hop content is full of all kinds of fucked up messages too about that relationship, about women, about this. But now when women get the mic,
men value themselves for how much money they make. If they make money, they think they can do whatever they want. They think people should treat them a certain way, that they can treat others a certain way. Men value men like that. And then you want to think that women are extra bad because we have learned to value you, how you value yourselves. I've been with men who are, when I happen to make more money, and I'm not like, lording it over people or like holding it over anyone's head. But I saw a guy who made less money than me. He resented me. He resented himself. He saw himself as, he's supposed to be more valuable because he makes more. But since I made more, he could not value himself. And so he had to devalue me. And really, it was all on him. Like, dude, I don't care. I'm not making you feel bad about this. I'm actually intentionally aware, very acutely aware of how dudes get when they feel like we are not valuing them for their money. But we're also not supposed to value you for your money. Sorry, if you take away the money from a lot of these guys, you're not kind, you're not funny, you're not interesting, you're not helpful, you're not adaptable, you are not gracious. You don't give us the grace that you expect from us. Sorry.
The way we value ourselves is definitely not.
Needs to change.
Anyway, it's all up for change. It's being changed.
It's kind of like back to this tree, and I know it's about like asking for help. I think is considered not masculine, and not doing it all is not masculine. I don't know.
There's all kinds of stuff.
So
it's very
stories.
limiting. It's very limiting stuff. It's just problematic stuff that keeps us as men feeling less full and in ourselves and complete and peaceful and at ease, and I think it does so intentionally. I was watching on Facebook, I'm scrolling through, and there's an ad from PragerU, Dennis Prager, conservative philosopher type, I guess.
PragerU's like a scam university, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A scam online university where he's, capitalism is amazing and men are good and trust Christ and watch out for the war on Christianity. Anyway, now he's got an ad where it says, New Year's resolutions are good, but don't waste time finding yourself. This is a quote. This is the title. New Year's resolutions are good, but don't waste time finding yourself. So the first thing, and finding yourself is in all caps and big, so he's responding to, I think, something. He's responding to a movement that's happening, a change. I think people are more and more asking about themselves and going internally as we've been trained to look at all the problems in the world and see all the problems in the world, and there are myriad, and they're terrible, and they're horrendous, but that to look at them with a lens of this, separate perceiver, and to be angry, and to wish to, how can I address this? What do we need to do? Whatever, I'm pissed, but not to look internally, and I think we're going through a shift where we are looking internally, because in truth, those external manifestations are deeply related to the internal choices that we each make and how we move in this world, the decisions we make, the job offers and the partnerships, the relationships, the things we walk around and just dismiss, the horrendous injustices that we turn away from and we don't associate. So, but also there's peace when you are in tune with yourself, as we were just describing in the relationships. If you're in tune with yourself and you feel full and complete with self, your value rises. Actually, your value rises in every space. In your relationship, you are asserting more of what and who you are and what you need. In your relationships, in the marketplace, in this beautiful thing called capitalism, in the marketplace, you have a greater sense of self. And so I think Prager here, his goal is to keep you distracted, keep your head down, don't find self. Come on, pick resolutions that are career oriented.
These are the things that you should go into. Go into one of these.
Focus your creative attention on this. Don't worry about yourself because he doesn't want you to be, or the people who watch him to be, empowered actors who are really asserting themselves, self-directed, even in the marketplace, and self-valued. Was your valuation should be steeped in the external perception and not in your own self. So it's interesting how these things are happening right now. These conversations are happening in response to each other.
Here, try this. Becca sent me. It's so good.
Baby. Yo, we didn't do
we didn't. Let's do that actually. Yeah, I think that's how I found you. I had done a vision board. We're going to do vision boards later. I think they're very helpful. And a couple months before I met Billy, I had made one and I found him. But it's because I was doing all this work on myself though. I was getting to know myself, and I had maybe like a year and a half before I'd started going to a sex therapist because I saw that I was very open to doing what other people wanted. I was like down, like, yeah, let me try it. Like, but I wasn't great at like being like, yes, I affirmatively want to do this thing, or this is the thing that I like. You know, I would let other people, I would let other people direct what was going on. Which makes me a very excellent, you know, receptive, responsive lover. But I was like, who am I? You know, what do I want? You know, like when I started having sex with women were way more interested in what I wanted. And they would be like, what do you like? And I would be like, oh, you first.
I saw that.
You know?
I saw that firsthand. And it was interesting. Honestly, our relationship with Ellen and Gina it's been helpful in a lot of ways. Like, it helped me go even further to understand, like, oh, I think that I'm listening to Sheba on a certain level, and I am, and I'm, you know, even sexually, like, deeper awareness and openness to stuff. But that when I saw the relationship, how Gina, you guys, and Elle both, like, I was like, okay, there's deeper shit here. There's stuff to be aware. So it was interesting. So I get to have deeper questions, and I love, like, they say that we've done that for them in different ways. So
yeah, so it's like really awesome to get to know ourselves. And that's the other thing, like, about, like, you know, not committing to not changing. You know, I was like, no, I'm gonna need to, I want to grow, I want to get to know myself more. And I imagine that if I know myself more, I'm probably going to change in certain ways. So it's just, you know, too vague of a thing to commit to. But yeah, I think and that's the thing, like, even since we met, I've changed so much and gotten to know myself so much more. But I was able, like, the work I did before meeting you, the getting to know myself, getting to know what I valued in other people, still helped me find you. So you don't have to be completely healed. You know, like, I don't think I'm ever going to be like, oh, I know myself, because I'm always changing. So,
there's no such thing.
Don't feel like, oh, I'm not going to find my person until I figure out exactly who I am. No, it's just like an orientation pointing towards the direction of yourself.
Super important. Major key. And know that it changes in every moment. You know, it's okay. So, anyway, so by the way, my name is Billy. My name is Billy, and I am so fucking excited for the new year. And for the now.
And I'm Sheba, and, like, I'm changing every second. And I'm, like, obsessed, honestly, with each version of me. Like, so
me too,
cool.
Baby.
You're
a rocking girl.
Yo, you're fascinating and so like wonderful. It's just really, really fun experience getting to know you. Just fucking wonderful.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, and this is
and this is Saturday morning cartoons.
Saturday. Morning cartoons.
Wow, that was definitely our longest intro.
It was.
Prior to
wow, exactly. Oh my
God, just jumped in though.
Funny. But everything is made up. Yeah, who told us that we have to do an intro that is this long, and then we have to do the title card, and then probably some white man? I don't care. We're going rogue.
It's our show. We do it. We're wild in our show.
Do what we want.
Shit.
So I wanted to do. I do want to do our breathing.
Oh yeah,
breathing is important.
Let's do the breathing too.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see. Okay. I didn't practice the thing, but it's gonna be great. Okay. Okay. Let's breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale.
Excellent. Thank you, Sheba.
Whew. Little recentrin.
Thanks for leading us in that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
totes, dude. Yeah. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, we have been like having a really great chat about change.
Yeah.
How is everyone else with change? And I was thinking at first I was gonna call this episode endings. But then I thought it was gonna be maybe kind of confusing. Like, oh, it's over. But also I like the idea of like an ending is really, it's not really an ending. It's just like it's also a start of something else. You know, it's just a change. It's a difference, and so I like that you called an audible.
Yeah. Change is key. Change is constant. Change is everything. It's all one thing. So it is the end. It is the beginning. It is a change.
It is a constant.
It is a constant. It depends on how you frame it. Depends on what constraints in terms of time or place or concepts or whatever it is that however you're looking at it.
I was thinking about this tree, and before it fell, I really love that tree. It was beautiful. It like blooms like once a year, these pink magnolias, really pretty, and it's right outside of our bedroom window.
Yeah.
And
so crazy. It fell. Obviously, well, if you don't know, it fell on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Right before Christmas. The tree. It was a bunch of rain and a bunch of wind and a bunch of freezing cold that day. It was like negative something.
So cold.
And we look out the window and it just fell out. The roots pulled itself out and are sitting on the top of my tree, on top of my car.
Yeah. And so I, was after we, got it handled. It was really, great. My brother got people to come over and chop it up and get it off the car, and so I was thinking, I was a little sad. Like, oh, that beautiful tree, like I loved when we would like show people the house. I would like take them up to, the master suite, and like I would leave the window open so you could see this like beautiful tree outside the window with the sun shining through onto the bed. It was like a beautiful effect. And I was like, dang, I won't have that anymore.
Right.
I'm sad that this tree is gone. But is it? I mean, the roots and stuff are still there. The stump is still there. The tree is cut up just on the side. Like, what is gone? What is death? What is life? It still exists. Maybe it is doing exactly what it's supposed to. Humans are attached to this idea that this tree should always look how it does. Big, outside of my window. But why? Maybe this tree is like, bitch, I have been here for 100 years. I am not even worried about you.
Right. That's the whole thing.
It's
your framing. It's your need and your aesthetic pleasure and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That is completely separate from the tree. Has nothing to do with the tree's purposes. Not to say like trees have goals at the end of the day, but it's separate from what the tree is. So.
Maybe we have a purpose, and it might be just to exist.
Like intentions, to exist, right?
And
but then something about the wind and the water and the temperature, like decided that tree should not exist as it did any longer.
Mm-hmm. But now the fungi, the insects, the molds, the microbes, all of those, all of the other animals like are gonna use this tree differently, Yeah,
there's a whole thing that happens,
And it still exists. Its nutrients, its essence is still
a
vital part.
Ecosystem and a whole exchange. The energy will be exchanged and dispersed in other ways. it's really a lot, and it's much of it we don't even. Like if we were experts on this particular issue, we might be able to talk about it more. But even then, it's like there's a depth of this whole thing that is totally crazy. But one more thing on change. I told like when you talk about like, am I good at change? One of the things that helps me be good at change, yo, is one. Like I said, like we've already said, change is always there. There is always changing, right? The things that we even reframe it as change is very personal. You know, it's just like, I liken it to moving. Like when you're in a car and the car is parked, but that the car next to you starts to move out, you think that you're moving, right? And it's just your perspective. So then you look around and you realize, oh yeah, that's right. Your car is still, it's parked, but the other person's moving. But that second where you thought you're moving, that's powerful. That's powerful information about the way you perceive, right? So the nature of change is that it always is what it is, but that we're perceiving it as change. Mm-hmm. We're perceiving it from our stagnant vantage point, let's say, and that we're seeing something else change, and then it orients us and piques our attention, and then particularly if you have an emotional attachment to what was, then you will have nostalgia and you want that thing again, but that
negative
it's
positive.
Always changing, and you're only paying attention to it in a certain way, and so whatever you're clinging to, the clinging is the nature of trying to make sense and to find calm and peace. It's like a natural reaction to the fact that everything is always changing and it's so complex and you can't make sense of it all. But what makes me peaceful is to know, okay, that's always happening, and that whatever I'm clinging to is itself falling.
Exactly.
It's like you're clinging to a boulder and you're like, oh, I'm safe, but that boulder is falling, you know? That boulder is changing. Everything is illusory like that.
Can you look at my phone, please?
Much more than we even realize, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's not an easy thing. Like I know that to be true, and so sometimes when I'm really stressed about it, I come back to that. I come back to that consciously, and I try to bring that front of mind, you know? Yeah. That
it's always changing. It's always a moving thing.
Yeah, it's always changing, and whatever the anxiety is these are my assessments and my clinging. Like, what am I attached to? And why? And once I realize, oh, I'm attached to that because of this, and that makes sense. Yeah. These things, but that I can access a different approach and a different lens to it, and sort of move with it and be, you know, and come back to what do I need? How can I, you know, what do I need in this moment? What's important for me?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's got me thinking of, I thought of, for my endings, one of the shows that I'd seen, one of the cartoons that I've seen, you know, from start to finish of it was Avatar, The Last Airbender. Okay. And that actually, now as we've been talking, it's actually all about change and attachment to stories and accepting one's power, accepting figuring out who one really is, you know,
yeah, I didn't really get into it, actually.
I think you really like it.
And as a cartoonist, I have people who've been like, what? You gotta get into that. And that's one of those, but...
I think you have, you're not... You thought of yourself certainly as someone who doesn't finish, like, TV shows, doesn't finish cartoons and things, doesn't really start cartoons. And maybe that can be our task. Let's watch Avatar: The Last Airbender from start to finish. Because it's also really helpful, you know, they're really great at telling stories, and I mean, the animation alone is like interesting. You can pick up some really interesting techniques, but like the storytelling, the family trauma, the roles that everyone feels like they have to play, the limits of those roles, like the ability to change, to self-direct, it's just like throughout, you know, these things, like it goes from like an individual level to families to a community to a world to a universe kind of level. It's so interesting, and I really want to watch it now. It's
let's get into that.
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
Yeah.
So what are the things, babe, for 2022 that you're looking to leave behind? What are the things you're not bringing in 2022? Did we do this in the last episode? I think maybe we did. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. Let's see. Leaving behind. I am leaving behind being like, I'm leaving behind the idea that I am mundane and normal, that I should be trying to fit in, that I should be trying to be understood, that should be my focus, trying to convince people of who I am, trying to tell them, who I am. And I think I want to focus more on being, on just existing, recognizing that other people will have these stories, that lenses that they will put on, and they'll add like whatever I do put out there, it will filter through their lenses, and I can't really do much about how they're going to perceive me. I'm not going to waste my energy convincing people, of my value. The only person I want to convince of that next year is myself. Is to really be in awe and like in love with me and my perceptions, and
I love that.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That's something I've been working on myself, and I'll continue working on that in 2023. That's a powerful thing. That kind of change, it's a mental change that changes the external world. When you master it, or you get on the road to mastery, the actual external world continues to be exactly as it is. People judge, and people hate, I guess is a word we can call. And people dislike and they like, and it's like you get all kinds of like feedback on yourself. But that you orient it where it's like, you're in control. None of these things really matter.
I'm trying to think too, like, nothing others do is about me. Nothing I do is about others. So when, I see sometimes sometimes I'll see a meme or a post or whatever, like, stop doing this. Like, y'all are weird for this. Like, that's weird. Like, because we've been taught you don't want to be weird, right? You want to fit in. You want to be normal. You don't want to be too far on any pole. But like, even that is an attachment to something that isn't you. It's like, you're supposed to be this. You're supposed to be in the center and not stand out too much, not get your head chopped off. But like, I don't know. Maybe let's be more attached to like being. Maybe we're supposed to stand out. That's why we always stand out. I don't think I'm supposed to fit in, because it's difficult for me to fit in. Like, what seems to come, intuitively or instinctively easily to other people, doesn't to me, and that's fine.
And in other cases, the reverse is true.
Exactly. Things that come easily to me, like being myself, resisting the urge to do what other people are doing. Like, that's easy for me, but for other people it's much easier to just be like, oh, what does the room need? What do they want from me? Okay, I can be that. But
yeah, another coming of age story similar to Avatar and rife with change is my old show Power Rangers. Shady Grove, the high schoolers learning about their power, changing Megazord and their individual battles, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. Sure.
Also,
right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. My brother was super into Pokemon.
Huge. Ash Ketchum on a path for his own journey and self.
Which is a little imperialist, honestly.
What's that?
He has to catch a bunch of free beings that are separate from himself and keep them in a ball, so that he can develop personally.
Yeah. There's some animal mistreatment in that ball. I wonder what happens, and they never address that. Like, when they're in that ball, do they get to eat? Like, do they have a lot of room?
Nope, they're only useful tools to Ash, which is also maybe how we teach boys that, like, your usefulness to others is your value. It starts early in many different ways. I just made up that song.
That's weird.
But,
that's a weird one.
Yeah,
those themes are definitely there. Those themes are definitely there. Yeah, like Bulbasaur, like one of the ones that he doesn't use often. But he has all these fucking Pokeballs, and one of them he doesn't pull out often. He's just in that ball forever.
Yeah, How is he when he comes out? Is he like, oh, hello? Oh, you do remember my name. You remember all about the sign.
You remember me, man?
Yeah. I throw rocks or something? Right? What do I do?
I think Bulbasaur does water? Ugh.
It's Squirtle.
No, that's Squirtle. Shit. Bulbasaur. He's got like a bulb on his head?
I bet Bulbasaur is the most powerful one, but because he doesn't throw flames or lightning, Ash isn't able to recognize how powerful this one is.
Yeah, he's got like an onion on his head.
It's like a fume, right?
Yeah, he's a seed.
It evolves
grass and poison Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Which seems very valuable. Well, I don't know what grass seems, but.
Yeah. They have different abilities and stuff against different attacks.
Here you go. Evolves into.
It evolves into Ivysaur. Yeah.
Oh, it's like a poison ivy. So the power to generate, to create, it looks like it's blooming and.
Yeah.
Can it give me some fucking, like, what does it do?
It eventually grows into Venusaur. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty serious.
Venusaur is blah, 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 bumpy content, blah, blah. It uses its flower to catch the sun's rays to convert them into energy, which causes the flower to become more vibrant. It releases a soothing scent that attracts Pokemon and calms emotion. This scent becomes stronger after a rainy day. So it can manipulate nature, release vines from its back, and lead evolution ceremonies.
So interesting that we got down this path just because I randomly picked a Pokemon, by the way.
I think you're good at seeing power that other people can't see. You're good at seeing value and worth that other people can't see. Be it in a fictional thing or in people in general.
I like that. That's right. I think that's right.
You are very good at and speaking that to people. Like you're good at reorienting, being like, this is what's maybe going on. You're actually very powerful, and they're forgetting about you. But don't forget about yourself. Like just because.
Forgetting about me?
Sorry, I'm talking about this Pokemon now.
Oh.
You know, just because Ash doesn't recognize your value, keeping you locked up in a backpack, like not taking you out, not fully understanding you, not taking the time to understand you, you got to do that. You got to do that work. You can't wait for someone else to choose you. You have to choose yourself.
I choose you.
Oh my God, that's what he says.
Yeah.
You're so right. Oh my God, who gives a shit if Ash chooses the poor animals he's enslaved for his use? I was thinking today. I had the idea that we have this idea. Sorry, this is kind of a redirect. About there's like male and female, and rarely, there's fewer intersex people at birth. And we use that idea that there's fewer of them to not study it. When something is rare, though, we should study it. That it's because it's, if something is common, you know a lot about it. But if something is rare, that's where you really get to understand what is the thing that unifies us all, what is the actual thing that differentiates us. And instead, we've been told this story that if something is rare, if it's in the minority, that it's less worthy of attention, that it's less worthy of exploration.
Do you see how that goes? This is, I think, a market-rooted thing here. The things that are in the minority, especially a very tiny minority, aren't profitable. The considerations and the needs, the particular uniqueness of that thing to go into depth, it's not profitable. And so there's no reason to give it attention by that ethic, by that mode of thinking.
But actually, they also say that if something is scarce, it is more valuable. But I think this market that has been created teaches you to say, okay, if this white man says it's valuable and scarce, then it's expensive, and we can put a lot, like diamonds, they're very common. They're, a lot of them, they're inherently worthless. Yet, some white men found a lot of it, and they want everyone to think that it's valuable. They certainly want to shape the world, so they're able to create markets
and then create narratives around it.
I choose love, you, Diamond.
About love and about the value of your relationship. The value dependent on niggas will actually have prices on the shit. Like your relationship, you haven't met the standard of love because you only spent 2% of your yearly income on this thing rather than 10 or 15%.
Which, like, why would I want an inherently worthless rock that if I try to resell it, it's instantly worth 50% of the value, 25 to 50% of the value? Like, that's nothing. That is not worth powerful. It. That is a story, though, that has been told also to tell boys that your worth, your value is in how much you can provide, what big ring you can provide.
Also told to girls, and girls
exactly.
Girls
we're told
perpetuate it, and girls. If boys have that insecurity in the first place, girls add it on top.
Exactly. And they internalize the idea, if this person doesn't get me expensive things, they don't love me. And if this person has gotten me an expensive thing, that's all he's got to do. He's provided. He's shown the world that he can provide. And so it's my job now it's okay if he's mean or if he doesn't, like me that much, or this is as much evidence I need that he loves me and is doing his part as I need. But I love our rings. I loved that, like, when we were thinking about, an engagement ring, Billy, I think you said, like, you wanted to keep it under $2,000. I was like, are you kidding me? I want to get $20 silicone rings. What am I going to do with a $2,000 fucking ring that I will instantly lose? I will feel bad because I'm like, wow, this person worked hard to spend money on me, and I lose it because it's a worthless trinket that doesn't matter. Like, that's not something I value, and I was glad that I was able to be like, that's not what I want. And you were able to get me something that I wanted rather than something that you wanted to be able to give me.
See, that's the crazy thing about this thing, The valuation that I have about things is my own. It's been indoctrinated in me through all kinds of things, my own personal experience. And for each of us, it's a different set of things, commercials and your mom and the church and this and that and your dad and all these. So I come into with you and I'm thinking I have a bit of shame. Like I quit my 6-figure salary job that's very well respected and regarded, and I'm going on this new path in the arts, and I don't know, the income's gonna be a little insecure. So we were getting married around that time, and I'm like, yo, I think I want to do a ring that's around, or 2G. And I said it with this kind of like, I'm trying to gauge if I'm disappointing you. Yeah. So I'm like, and I look at you, you're like, whoa, 2. You weren't thinking I was gonna say a number.
I thought you were gonna say 200, and then I was like, $2,000.
And so what went from an anxiety that was entirely my own, I came to you and talked to you about it, and thankfully you were in a mindset where it could be pulled downwards, but and I had to I was able to dissipate that tension, that burden. But few people, like, all along that path, few people take note of what's going on and how these formations are occurring. It's not the real world. The real world does not value love through a rock or through a big expensive rock or some percentage of your income or something like this. That's not what the real world is. That is a powerful propaganda thing. And so this access to you and myself and an awareness of the situation and the power to actually act in our own best interest, self-defined, changes everything. It takes another bill off our plate, another expense.
What a great way to start our relationship too. Really having a meeting of the minds on what do we want from this? Because I had just bought a house, and I was thinking, and this was my second marriage, so I knew my ex made a big deal of, he really wanted to get me an expensive ring, and I was like, I found one that was really beautiful, vintage, and $5,000 though. So I was like, can we get this on layaway? Just pay it in installments. And sometimes, a lot of times he wouldn't have the money for the installment. So of course I would, pay for it. And, which, because I am someone someone to whom money flows easily. So it's easy for me to, of course, like, I'm not trying to make someone feel like their ability to fund everything is solely on them. And I try to show that, like, concretely by being like, no, it's totally cool. But the couple times where I was short on funds and I couldn't do it, I couldn't pay it all. I was like, could we go halves this month on it? And he refused.
That's weird.
He was like, oh, well, you said you were going to pay it. He would make me feel bad about not doing it. I was like, oh, he resents me for being able to do it. But also, I didn't, like, if you couldn't afford it, that would have been fine. Like, I wish he would have just been honest with me about what was going on rather than, like, keeping all of these weird stories. And anyway, I was very glad I had that experience, because my second go around, it was easy for me to be like, oh, no, I don't care about the ring. I want $20, something that I'm, if I lose it, I'll be able to easily get another one. And, I want us to start our marriage off not in crushing debt. I want us to start it with, I don't know, a clean state, a firm understanding, and, like, mechanisms for us to keep evolving,
Yeah.
our life.
Yeah. That was a cool realization among many. Yeah, girl.
And surprisingly, I have not lost these yet. It's okay.
Well,
Billy
I
has.
think I've lost 3.
But it's okay. Like, that's why I got them, because of course, like, you're supposed to lose them. If it was an expensive thing, I would have lost it the first day. I would have scratched it. I would have always been, like, stressed about, like, what to do with my hands. This is, like, more me, and I'm really glad that you were able to see me and what I actually value. And
what's nuts is, like, you're so dope and perfect for me. Some of this stuff, like, some guys we might have articulated a whole perfectly logical thing, and I think we did, and some people still will see value in the other way of being. They think that this is it should be an investment. It should feel a little bit, you should dig a hole a little bit. There's something that you're creating in that. But I just want to say, like, you work perfectly for me. I've always said, like, all these attributes that I didn't think were possible in one person. I said, if she's gonna be fine, she's not gonna be interested in the politics the way that I am. She's not, maybe she's certain, like, the interest in these conversations. She won't have the creativity. She won't be a freak. She won't be down for, looking at monogamy differently. She might be more materialistic, but you have all of this stuff. I mean, you're materialistic in just the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm materialistic. There are things I like. I invest in all this equipment for this computer and in certain things and living comfortably. And we have that in common. And you're gorgeous and you're awesome. And I forgot what we talked about just recently, where I was like, oh wow, paradigm shifting conversations with you. So I guess I didn't have really a point to say there, but that, like, the ring situation is perfect that we were able to agree on that, because I've always said that. I've been saying that for a long time, and I was like, probably not gonna find, and I've dated lots of women who the ring is a thing. Like, I was like, I'm probably not gonna find this girl. She doesn't exist. Who's okay, who doesn't see value in that and is open to whatever. But no, you're dope.
That's so funny, because I know there were, like, guys who, if I would say, like, I don't, like, want an expensive ring, and they were like, okay, so if a guy gets you an expensive ring, you're not gonna take it. Like, I mean, if someone gets me a gift, I'm not gonna turn it away, but they would be getting that for them. Like, not because that's something that I said I wanted. And then holding me to be like, well, you didn't give it back is, like, not, that's not how gift giving is. But yeah, I like that you were able to suspend your disbelief that, like, I would really be happy with this and love me for that. I know other dudes who have, like, when I said, like, I just got this cheap, they're like, oh, you're easy. Kind of in I took it in, like, a kind of a derogatory, like, you don't have standards or something. But, like, I think I'm actually just very, very smart. Why would I waste money on a trinket when, what bigger flex is there than being married to Billy? being chosen by someone like Billy, you know? Like, I kind of judge people who have like big rings and things. It makes me think like you're performing that for someone else.
I mean, yeah, like I try to remove judgment, but yeah,
That's
for
true,
sure,
but
like all these things, whenever any sort of the conspicuous stuff, we just live in a world where that's the measure. Instagram, you know, if it didn't happen on Instagram, it didn't happen. Meanwhile, your life happens all of the time, and the best moments sometimes they'll be captured and be shared publicly, but the best moments should be our own.
Yeah.
It should be our own. They are our own. You know, there's a lot of stuff people don't post and shouldn't post.
I love that we have so many amazing experiences and conversations and things that like what we do share with the world is just like from our overflow. We're just like overflowing with like awesome moments that we kind of are just between us or with our family, our loved ones, our close circle. And so it's like we don't even have to kind of try to present an image on Instagram. It just it's drops of who we are, but it's still, I think, really beautiful what people get to see. So.
Yeah, I'm excited again. 2022 was beautiful. We started this show in 2022.
I know.
We started Sheba Sunday about 7 weeks ago, and again, like you said, the Instagram, the stuff we post, and I'm excited about everything that we've been doing, and I'm excited for the Breadlums we started in 2020. Well, Breadlums launched in 2022.
Billy did a hilarious after Andrew Tate, got arrested.
Yeah. Andrew Tater Tot.
Yeah, Andrew Tater Tot and Greta Thunberger bun.
Thunberger, yeah. I might need to create a Greta Thunberger bun.
Oh my gosh, this little burger bun with like little pigtails.
But you've done enough. Shut up, all of you.
You've done enough.
You
but
have
also, like,
ruined
you're right. We have ruined this earth, and why? Let's leave behind this idea that children are not supposed to be leading the way.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the change, I think, too. This awareness. It used to be the case that adults they know everything.
They know it. They've got it.
They're the leaders and they're handling it.
They're teaching children.
But I think that's been exposed. I think we all realized that the adults didn't know what they were doing. What they had was simply the authority and the platform
to tell the narrative and to say that this is how it is.
Yeah.
You don't have any better evidence, do you, children? So it's us.
And what's really part of what we're struggling with right now are a bunch of adults who are so deeply stuck in their heads and in their titles and in their words and in their labels and in their concepts and in their value assessments that they don't have any creative imagination, and so we're locked in a mess. I'm just thinking now of the media cycle, the way that's my vantage point. We're locked in a mess where people don't know what to do, and everyone kind of knows that this is
They know what they're not supposed to do. Oh, you're not supposed to say that. Oh, you're not supposed to do that. Oh, you're not supposed to question that. But, I mean, maybe that's why everything is shitty, is because we've been taught what not to do. And we've been taught to fear just figuring it out. Like, trusting yourself. Yeah. You can do it. Like, yeah.
To be present. To accept change in the fullness of things. To not try to assert your own thing. Like, your definitions, your assessment of what you think is a limitation, It's not, you live in a world that is much larger than these words and these concepts that you're attached to. And
it's probably your best guess.
You think you have the right path forward, and you think you need to assert yourself in order to correct something, but that all of your assessments are limited, and you need to actually engage in a humbling process to disperse the rights of these narratives and the rights of the power to move forward. And that's what's happening, whether people like it or not. It's a matter of, like, how do you handle it? Do you get really riled up like Dennis Prager and tell your people to not look inward, and you got all these ways of fighting?
Are you a sensitive little snowflake, afraid of the truth, afraid of what you might find when you discover yourself? It's okay. You be good. So you can do it. You've done harder things.
Life is really interesting. I mean, really strange, but we're all part of it, and I think we can unlock something. I think we get to a point where you get a critical mass of awareness in this way, and love, a critical mass of, like, conscious, intentional sharing of reality, very different from what we've had up till now.
Yes.
And I think you unlock a different space. You're able to build better institutions that are more reflective and more responsive to actually each other. So that's part of it, yo. That's the change, son.
Oh,
it's about these changes, yo.
Changes, yo. Changes.
Yep. We're at 11 minutes over, baby.
All right, yeah, let's get out of here. Choose yourselves, y'all, in 2023.
Yeah, man.
Choose yourself.
You got it.
Thyself.
We got it.
Wow. Oh my God, that's so funny. I feel like 2022 for me was about knowing thyself. 2023 might be about choosing myself. Now that I know who I am, choose it.
That's right. I love it. Yeah, that means active. That means stepping into it. I love it.
Embracing my fullness.
Embracing it, yeah. With intention. Anyway, love, y'all.
Happy New Year.
Good. Happy New Year.
Have fun tonight.
It's Billy. Right now. Yo, what if I got attacked by the clones? What if the builder think they found a better stone? What if the beat don't match with the metronome? What if that means you walk your path alone? Call me a vagabond. If all these streets leading to Rome, then wherever I lay is my home. It's Brooklyn, boy strong. I manifest, I'm in the zone. Y'all silly better back up off my throne. Listen, boy nice, better give him his propers. How we come out sane from all the mosh pits. How we found the key to the game without a locksmith. How we seem to manage these lanes is so obnoxious. He let it flow from the brain, trusting the process. A vet journeyman on multiple rosters. If I want it, I go out and get it and cop it. A monster with limitless options. Man, like goddamn, y'all gon' soon figure out who I am. We stay cooking, y'all used to that spam. Western beef, I might square up at the square dance. Look, I change plans, not even a southpaw, I'm an outlaw with a rare stance. Your crew never had a fair chance.
Why's that?
I kill a whole bear with my bare hands. Oh, they studied the dark? Well, I was raised in it. Brain shifted, the kid displayed insane physics. Best story never told, and it ain't finished. How we handled a rock, spun and kept the same pivot. I frame different, hot like a flame kitchen. A whole 2 levels out of your range gifted. Catch me on the highway, lane switching. Or right at the top of your bay wish list. It's Billy. Right now. It's Billy.